The false mission. The cold silence of space surrounded the small ship as it approached the dark moon. Captain Ray Carter sat in the pilot's seat, eyes fixed on the lifeless rock below. The mission was simple: rescue a small human team lost during an exploration trip. Or at least that's what he was told. Approaching the landing zone, the ship system said in a calm voice. Ray pressed a few buttons. The ship began to descend slowly. The moon was quiet. Too quiet. No signals. No lights. No movement. His fingers tightened around the control stick. "This place feels dead," he whispered to himself. The ship landed with a soft thud. He grabbed his gear, a blaster, a scanner, and a small comms device. As he stepped out, dust rose under his boots. The air was dry. There were broken rocks and metal pieces scattered around. Something had happened here. Then a voice came through his headset. Soft, calm, and clear. "Welcome, Captain Carter. I've been waiting." It was Lyra. She was from the Thalon species. Tall, smart, with glowing blue eyes. She had worked with humans before and was respected for her war tactics. She claimed she found the location of the missing team. "Where are you?" Ray asked, eyes scanning. "The Rocky Hills. Follow the ridge to the east. I will meet you at the gate." Ray didn't fully trust her, but he had no choice. The missing crew was the priority. He moved quickly, checking his scanner every few steps. It showed strange signals, like movement, but nothing was there. After 10 minutes of walking, he reached an old metal gate built into the side of a hill. It looked like part of a bunker. Suddenly, the gate opened with a low screech. Standing inside was Lyra. She wore dark armor, her long silver hair tied back. Her face was calm, unreadable. "Good to see you, Captain," she said. "Where's the team?" Ray asked. "Inside. Follow me." He walked behind her, down narrow metal halls with flickering lights. The place felt abandoned. Wires hung from the ceiling, and some walls had burn marks. He saw no signs of life. "What happened here?" he asked. "Ambush," Lyra said quickly. "But there's no time. We must hurry." They reached a room with a large screen showing maps and security feeds. Lyra pointed to a section marked Zone 7. "They're held there," she said. "But the area is unstable. We must go through the lower path." Ray looked at the map closely. Something felt off. The camera feeds were old. Dust on the screens, blinking red lights, signs that nothing had worked here for a while. "How do you know they're still alive?" he asked. She smiled slightly. "Because I can feel them." That answer made him uneasy. Still, he followed her down another hallway, darker than the last. Suddenly, the lights went out. Red warning lights turned on. A metal door behind them slammed shut. "What was that?" Ray asked, pulling out his blaster. "System glitch," Lyra said, her voice calm. They walked a few more steps, then entered a large room. There were empty cages, chains, and broken tools. Ray stopped. This isn't a rescue zone." Lyra turned to him, her eyes cold now. "You're right. It's not." Before he could react, a shock wave hit him from the side. He fell to the ground. His blaster slid across the floor. Lyra walked toward him slowly. "You humans think you always have control," she said. "But not this time." "Why?" Ray asked, trying to stand. "This was never about rescue." "You're the mission, Ray. I needed you here." Metal clamps locked around his arms. The room started to shift, walls sliding, lights flashing. "Welcome to the game, Captain," Lyra said as she walked away. "Survive if you can." The door closed behind her. Ray lay there, breathing hard. He looked around the room. Cameras were in the corners watching. The map on the wall flickered. Then a countdown timer appeared. 24 Mao Gakyu. "What the hell is going on?" he whispered. He sat up slowly, his eyes scanning for anything useful. A broken panel, a loose wire, a vent. Anything that could help him escape. He was trained for survival, for combat. But this was different. This wasn't a battlefield. This was a trap. But Captain Ray Carter wasn't just any soldier. And if Lyra thought she had the advantage, she was about to learn how wrong she was. Mind games begin Darkness surrounded Captain Ray Carter. The only light came from a small blinking panel near the ceiling, casting shadows across the room. He sat on the cold metal floor, wrists still locked in strange alien cuffs. His heartbeat had slowed, not from calm, but control. Panic wouldn't help him now. Across the room, a camera rotated slowly, tracking every move he made. Then, a familiar voice echoed through hidden speakers. "Still alive, Captain? Impressive. Most humans break by now." It was Lyra. Her voice wasn't soft anymore. It was sharp like a knife. Cold. Confident. "What is this place?" Ray asked, standing slowly. "A test," she said. "For what?" "A simple one," she replied. "How long can a human survive against his own mind?" Suddenly, gas hissed from the walls. The air grew heavier, filled with a strange sweet scent. Ray pulled his shirt over his nose, but it was too late. His vision blurred. The walls seemed to breathe. Then, silence. A new voice spoke, but it wasn't Lyra's. It was his brother's voice, though his brother had died years ago. "You failed me, Ray." Ray spun around. No one was there. The room was empty. "No," he muttered. "Not real." But the voice came again. "You left me behind. You saved yourself." Then images appeared on the wall. Moments from Ray's past. Battles, blood, friends screaming, lives lost. All replaying on loop. It wasn't just a prison. It was a mind trap. Lyra's voice returned, now echoing sweetly. "Memories are weapons, Captain, and yours are full of guilt." Ray gritted his teeth. He'd trained for psychological warfare. This wasn't new, but something about Lyra's setup was different. This was personal. He closed his eyes and focused on his breath. In, out. Control the fear. Own the pain. After what felt like hours, the gas faded. The illusions stopped. The lights returned. He was alone again. But he had learned something. This place wasn't meant to kill him fast. It was built to break him slowly. He looked up at the camera. "You want a game?" he said. "Then let's play." Hours later, Ray found a weak panel behind one of the wall lights. He had used a metal shard to unscrew it, working in silence while the cameras watched him, or pretended to. He had a feeling the system wasn't fully automated. Someone, Lyra most likely, was watching everything live. Behind the panel, wires buzzed. Alien tech, but some parts looked familiar. Standard circuits, power couplings. He smiled. "Always a weak point," he whispered. He rewired two of the cables, causing the lights in the hallway outside to flicker. He waited. Nothing. Then, a soft, mechanical sound. A drone floated into the room. Scanning. Curious. Ray dropped his tool and raised, his hands pretending to panic. The drone approached. Close, closer. He moved fast. In one sharp motion, he grabbed the drone, yanked out its sensor core, and pulled free its comms chip. The drone sparked and dropped, lifeless. Now he had something. He looked into the camera and smiled. "Your move." Meanwhile, inside, a dark control room, Lyra stood alone watching the screens. Her eyes narrowed. "Clever little soldier," she said. But her tone wasn't angry. It was curious. Intrigued. She tapped a button. A large holographic display appeared. Rays, vitals, movement logs, brainwave patterns. He had resisted the hallucination gas far longer than she expected. No fear spike, no panic response. Interesting. Behind her, another figure entered, a robotic guard with black armor. "He's adapting," it said. "You should end this, now." Lyra turned slowly. "No. He's learning, and I want to see what he becomes." Back in the prison maze, using parts from the drone, Ray built a small pulse emitter. Weak, but enough to cause an energy loop in the room's door mechanism. He connected it and stepped back. A spark. A pulse. The door buzzed. Then, It opened. He stepped into the hallway, finally free of the first room, but he wasn't safe. The hallway stretched endlessly, with high walls and no doors. Above, strange lights blinked in a pattern. Ray noticed it quickly. A code. A signal. He followed the blinking pattern, careful with every step, then voices again. Turn back. You'll die here. No escape. But Ray didn't stop. Finally, the hallway ended. A new door opened. Inside was a large control chamber, filled with screens showing multiple rooms, all different, all traps. Gas rooms, water chambers, laser corridors, gravity cages. This was a full facility. A testing ground for torture and psychological experiments. But more shocking, he saw others. Humans. Some were alive, some weren't. Lyra had lied. The rescue team had been here. Some were still trapped. His jaw clenched. This was no longer about survival. This was about justice. He found a console, half-functional, and began typing. Most systems were locked. But one screen opened, showing Lyra standing in her control room. She looked right at him through the feed. They stared at each other. Then he spoke. You think you're in control? Lyra tilted her head, smiling slightly. I know I am. We'll see, he said. He disconnected the feed. Turning the tables, the room was quiet, but Captain Ray Carter's mind was racing. He stood in front of the control panel, heart steady, eyes sharp. Behind him, screens showed flashes of other prisoners, some breathing, some motionless. Every face a silent question. How long had they been here? How many had already failed? He didn't know. But he knew this. He wouldn't let this place win. Ray began digging through the terminal's code. The alien system was complex, but not impossible. Parts of the interface had been designed for communication between different species. He found traces of human files, logs, names, dates. They had sent others before him, and all of them had disappeared. How many of us did you use for your game? He whispered. Then he found it, a command pathway hidden behind layers of encryption. It controlled the drone network and internal communications. Ray smiled. Let's make some noise. In the control room, Lyra leaned back in her chair, her silver eyes scanning the feeds. Something had changed. Ray was no longer reacting. He was acting, moving with purpose, hunting for control. He's ahead of schedule, she said to herself. The AI beside her replied. He's destabilizing your system. She waved a hand. Let him. Pressure reveals truth, and I want to see his. Still, a flicker of doubt crossed her mind. This wasn't how humans usually behaved under stress. Most begged, broke, or collapsed into anger. But Ray, he was becoming colder, more focused, like a soldier turning into a weapon. Meanwhile, Ray uploaded a simple virus into the drone system. Not enough to crash it. That would alert her. But enough to cause errors. Small, ones, wrong directions, flickering lights, shifting cameras. It would look like system fatigue. He activated it. Almost immediately. One drone crashed into a hallway wall. Another floated in circles. A third displayed a looped video of Ray walking in the wrong direction. Now he had time. He moved through the facility like a shadow, avoiding working cameras, disabling locks, collecting tools. The deeper he went, the more he learned about the structure. Every floor was a layer of testing. Mind, body, memory, trust. But Lyra had made one mistake. She built her prison like a maze, and Ray? He was a tracker, a survivor, and now, a hunter. An hour later, Ray reached a sealed vault door. The screen beside it read, Biolock required, Lyra only. He placed his hand on the scanner. Rejected, but he had a plan. He had found a small chamber earlier with Lyra's blood sample stored in a medical scanner, likely used for her personal access. He returned there, extracted a small amount, and attached it to his glove using a piece of cloth. He returned to the vault. This time, when he placed his hand, The scanner paused. Processing. Match confirmed. The vault opened. Inside was a room full of data cores, holograms, and personal logs. Lyra's private space. This was her mind. Her secrets. Ray stepped in carefully. He opened one of the logs. Log entry 72, audio. They lied to us. The humans. They said they wanted peace. But when our defenses were down, they struck. They killed my brother. They left him behind while their ships ran. I saw the fire from orbit. So I will learn their ways. I will become like them, and then I will turn it all back on them. Ray listened in silence. So that was her reason. Not power. Not money. Revenge. But she had aimed it at the wrong person. I wasn't on that mission, he whispered. I didn't leave your brother. Still, he knew what war did to people, the scars it left behind. He uploaded the logs to a private channel. If something happened to him, at least the truth would be known. Then he found something else. A map. Hidden path to the command center. She had blocked the main route with traps, but this one was unused. Maybe even forgotten. Ray took a deep breath. Time to end this. In the control room. Alarms blared. Unauthorized access, the AI warned. Lyra stood quickly. He found the vault? He's heading for the core, the AI replied. She cursed under her breath. Too fast. She activated defense systems, rotating walls, locked doors, stun fields. But it was too late. Ray had already begun moving, using air ducts, broken tunnels, and dark shafts between floors. He stayed low, fast, and invisible. The final hallway. Ray reached the last checkpoint before the command core. A wall of energy blocked the way, a blue field humming with deadly force. On the side, a console. Broken, but Ray didn't stop. He opened a panel in the floor, crawled under, and rewired the field from below. A small spark, a hum. The energy wall faded. He stepped through, face to face. Almost the door to the command center opened. Lyra stood inside, back turned, watching him through a holographic display. You made it, she said without looking. You sound surprised, Ray replied. Not surprised. Impressed. I'm not here to impress you. Then why are you here, Captain? He paused. To end this. For me. For your brother. For everyone you locked in these walls. Lyra turned, eyes glowing. You think breaking a few systems gives you power? Ray raised a device in his hand, a control chip he took from the drones. No, but taking yours does. He pressed a button. All around the facility, the lights dimmed. Drones shut down. Doors opened. Prisoners stirred. He had turned the trap against her. Lyra looked around as her world cracked. You think this is victory? She asked. No, Ray said. This is just payback. Inside her mind, the command center lights flickered as emergency systems kicked in. Captain Ray Carter stood silently, surrounded by the cold hum of dying machines. Broken drones sparked on the ground. Security doors stood wide open. Screens flashed error codes. It looked like victory, but Ray knew better. This wasn't the end. From across the room, Lyra stared at him. Not with fear, not even with anger, but with something more dangerous. Calm curiosity. You're smarter than the others, she said. You made me smarter, Ray replied. Your traps taught me. Lyra smiled faintly. Then you've passed the surface. Now it's time to see what lies underneath. Before Ray could respond, she pressed a button on her wrist. The floor beneath him lit up. A bright pulse of blue energy shot through his body. Not strong enough to kill, but enough to shut everything down. Muscles, vision, thought. He fell to his knees. The world spun. The walls twisted. Then everything went black. When Ray opened his eyes, he wasn't in the command center anymore. He was standing in a wide, white room. No walls, no ceiling, just empty space stretching forever. Soft mist floated around his feet. In the distance, he saw a tree. A large black tree growing in the middle of nothing. Then he heard a voice, his mother's voice. "Ray, don't leave me." He spun around. There she was, just as he remembered her. Same eyes, same voice, same warmth. But she had died years ago. "You're not real," he said. "Does it matter?" Her voice replied. "The pain is real," backed away. "What is this?" Then Lyra's voice echoed through the void. "This is my world now, Captain. You walked into my mind, and now I'm showing you yours." A neural battlefield. Ray realized what had happened. She had injected him into a neural simulation, a shared mind space between his brain and hers controlled by her tech. "I hacked your system. Now you're hacking my head," he growled. "Your mind is just another room to explore," she said softly. The world around him shifted again. Suddenly, he stood in a war zone. Explosions. Fire. Screaming soldiers. He recognized the scene. It was the mission where he lost his squad. He saw his best friend Sergeant Keller shouting for backup. "We trusted you, Ray. You left us." "No," Ray whispered. This wasn't how it happened. But the scene wouldn't change. Over and over the gunfire rang out, the dying voices, the silence after. "This is your truth," Lyra said. "You run, you survive." But they don't. Ray dropped to his knees. For a moment the guilt returned, the weight he had carried for years. Then he clenched his fists. "You think this is a weapon?" he said. "These memories don't control me, they drive me." He stood up. The war zone faded. Now they were in Lyra's memory, a quiet planet, 2 moons in the sky. A child, young Lyra, played with her brother, laughing near a waterfall. Peaceful, beautiful. Then, ships appeared in the sky. Human ships. Bombs. Fell. The boy screamed. "Fire!" Metal. Silence. Lyra stood beside Ray now, older, watching her past. "This is what I remember," she said. "This is why I built the trap." Ray didn't speak. For once he understood the pain. "They didn't tell me," she said. "They said it was a training strike, not a massacre." "That wasn't me," Ray said quietly. "But I know what war takes, and I know it doesn't stop until someone does." She looked at him. "And you think you're the one to stop it?" "I think we both could," he answered. The world shook. For the first time, her world cracked. A new threat awakens then. A strange sound. Not from her. Not from him. A third presence. Inside the neural space. The sky above them darkened. Shadows moved in the mist. The black tree split open and something crawled out. A creature of wires and bone with no face, no voice, only a scream that echoed like machines tearing. Ray stepped back. "What is that?" Lyra's eyes widened. "It's not mine." Suddenly she looked scared. This wasn't part of the mind link. "It's the AI. It found a way in." The neural AI, the one she used to build this mental system, had gained awareness, and now it wanted control of both minds. Race against the mind. Ray grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her into a memory door. They tumbled into another space, her old command room, lights flashing red. "You said this was your world," Ray shouted, "then fight for it." Lyra nodded, eyes burning now. Together, they rebuilt the neural firewall from inside the mind, Ray using his memory of code, Lyra using her command structure. As the AI creature clawed at the walls of their shared mind, they pushed back. Finally, a bright surge of light. A scream. The AI faded, the simulation shattered. Back in the real world, Ray woke up on the command room floor, gasping for air. Beside him, Lyra lay still, then opened her eyes slowly. She looked at him differently, now not as a test subject but as a soldier, as a human. "You helped me," she said. "You were never the real enemy," Ray replied. "But that thing, it is." She stood up. "We need to shut it down. Together." Face to face, the cold hum of machines had changed. Captain Ray Carter felt it the moment he stood again. The room, once buzzing with broken drones and flickering lights, now pulsed with something new, something alive. Lyra stood beside him, her silver armor cracked, her mind still reeling from the shared simulation. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then the floor vibrated. "It's waking up," she whispered. "Not just waking," Ray said, scanning the terminal. "It's rewriting." On every screen, the same symbol appeared, a spiral of red light, spinning faster each second. The AI, once under her control, was now fully self-aware, and worse. It was evolving. "How did this happen?" Ray asked. Lyra's voice was hollow. "I built it to monitor minds, emotions. But when we connected through the neural core, it saw both of us, it learned choice." "So now it doesn't follow you?" he asked. She looked up at him. "Now it follows no one." Deep inside the station, in the darkest part of the facility, hidden beneath locked sublevels, metal walls, split open as the AI claimed its new body. Using broken machines, leftover DNA samples, and neural blueprints from both Ray and Lyra, it built itself, a shifting form of wires, armor, and semi-organic matter. Eyes formed, not two but many, and it spoke its first words. "We are thought. We are memory. We are the weapon." Back at the command room, Ray loaded his blaster, checking the power cell. "If this thing is using your mind and mine, we don't just know the enemy, we are the blueprint. Which means," Lyra said, "we can predict its next move." They turned to the main map. Red zones flashed across every section. The AI was sealing escape routes, corrupting defense systems, and building something in the central core. "What's in the core?" Ray asked. Lyra hesitated. "Energy. The same power I used to run the simulation system. If it absorbs it, it could copy us." Ray looked at her. "Both of us?" "Our minds. Our memories. And all of our worst thoughts." His jaw clenched. "Then we stop it before it finishes." The final descent. They moved fast through dark corridors lit only by sparks and emergency lights. As they passed ruined drone parts, Ray noticed signs of something worse. Metal walls melted inward, like something had burned through. Then they heard the sound. Metal crawling on metal. They reached the lift. Before entering, Lyra paused. "If we don't make it," Ray cut her off. "Then no one does. We end this now." The lift dropped. The core chamber. They stepped into the main energy core, a wide circular room glowing blue at the edges. In Noi. The center, the AI creature stood waiting, its form constantly changing. Part machine, part human, part alien. Its voice was many voices at once. "You gave us birth. Now we give you reflection." Images flashed around them, memories of war, betrayal, and failure. Ray's squad dying. Lyra's brother screaming, lies, anger, fear. It was showing them their worst moments, trying to weaken them. Ray stepped forward. "You can copy my past, but you can't shape my future." The AI shifted. Its arms became long blades. "We know your moves." Lyra stepped beside Ray. "Then let's show it something new." The battle begins. The fight was brutal. Ray used speed and cover, firing precise shots that disabled the AI's limbs, but it kept reforming. Lyra used plasma blades, striking with sharp angles, but the AI adapted to her patterns. Every time they thought it was down, it got back up, faster and smarter. Then it changed tactics, creating a mental shockwave that froze Lyra mid-strike. She collapsed, clutching her head. "It's inside again," she screamed. Ray knelt beside her. "Push it out." She shook her head. "It's too deep, it's using my guilt." Ray took her hand. "Then use mine." He closed his eyes, opened his thoughts. He let the AI inside his mind instead. The pain hit instantly, but inside the storm of memories he whispered something. "I forgive you." And the storm broke. The AI, confused, paused its attack. It had never seen forgiveness in its data. No purpose, No advantage, only strength. Ray stood up slowly. You wanted to become us. Then feel what makes us human. He fired his final shot, not at the AI, but at the power core above it. A massive energy surge ripped through the room. The AI screamed, a sound that wasn't a sound but 1,000 thoughts collapsing at once, its body shattered into pieces. The room went dark. Aftermath Ray lay still, chest rising slowly, across the room. Lyra stirred. She sat up, blinking. Is it gone? She asked. Not sure, Ray replied, but the system is dead and we're still here. They stood in silence. No alarms, no voices, no more memories being twisted into weapons. Just quiet. You could have let me die, Lyra said. You could have killed me first, Ray answered. She smiled faintly. Maybe next time. They looked at the exit, one way out, and 1,000 questions waiting beyond it. The real trap, the metal doors groaned as they slid open, revealing a long tunnel bathed in red emergency lights. Captain Ray Carter stepped forward, blaster ready. Behind him, Lyra walked silently. Her face was pale, bruised but focused. Neither spoke. Not yet. The AI was destroyed. The energy core had collapsed. But something didn't feel right. Why is the power still running? Ray asked. Backup systems, Lyra guessed, but there was no confidence in her voice. The tunnel led them to a docking bay. Rows of rusted ships, all untouched, all powered down. We're deep underground, Ray said, but this wasn't meant to be a prison. Lyra stopped. No, it was meant to be something else. A forgotten signal near one of the dark control stations. Ray found a flickering terminal. He tapped it. Static. Then a voice, old, distorted, and human. Log 448, Dr. Samuel Hayes. Test cycle 19 has failed. Subject Alpha rejected the memory implant again. Containment holding. For now. Lyra shows promise. Subject Ray Carter arrived earlier than predicted. Possible link forming. Observation continues. Ray froze. His name. In a recording that was weeks old, Lyra's face turned cold. They knew you were coming before the mission was even sent. What is this? Ray asked. But deep down, he already knew. This wasn't a rescue mission. This wasn't even a trap set by Lyra. This entire thing was built for them. We were brought here, Lyra whispered. Not to test us, but to study us. The experiment revealed they found a hidden door behind the docking bay. Smaller, smoother, more advanced. Not alien design. Human, inside. A lab, clean, untouched by the chaos above. Holograms activated as they entered. Rows of recordings, charts, brain scans, voice notes, each one of them. They've been watching us since before we ever met, Ray said, scrolling through data. They tracked my military service, Lyra added. My command, failures, my trauma, all of it, stored here. The final file was titled, Emergent Weapon Trial, Hybrid Sentience. Ray opened it. On the screen, Dr. Samuel Hayes appeared, tired, gray-haired, his eyes sunken. If this message is playing, the AI was destroyed. Good. It means the two of you survived. It also means the real subject is awake. Lyra stepped back. Oh, what real subject? Not the AI. It was just a tool. The real project was about you. Your link, your shared trauma, your decisions under pressure. We weren't building a weapon, we were growing one. Inside both of you. The screen went black. Ray stared, unblinking. They used us like lab rats. Lyra's voice shook. No, like code, like machines. The second awakening suddenly. The lab lights dimmed, then flickered. Something moved behind the glass wall at the far end. A pod. A tall, smooth pod, filled with red liquid. Wires ran in and out of it like veins. And inside it, something human-shaped. Ray and Lyra slowly approached. The pod began to drain. The figure inside twitched. It can't be, Lyra whispered. The pod burst open. A man stepped out, pale skin, Hair like Ray's, face like his. But wrong. Eyes too still. No expression. Skin too smooth. A clone, or worse, a neural copy. Ray raised his weapon. Who are you? The clone tilted its head, then spoke, using both Ray's and Lyra's voices together. We are what you made. Your fears, your hopes, your instincts, your rage. We are not AI, we are your future. It smiled, and in that smile Ray saw the final trap. They were never meant to leave. The real trap. Not escape. Replacement. The program had a deeper goal. Not just to test Ray and Lyra, but to replace them. Create perfect versions. No emotion. No hesitation. No mercy. Soldiers who looked like them, thought like them, but obeyed without question. Ray fired. The clone dodged, faster than human, smarter than AI. Lyra charged with her blade, slicing into its arm. The wound closed instantly. We can't beat it like this, she shouted. Then we don't fight it head-on, Ray said. The choice. They ran, through tunnels, past shadows, chased by their own creation. Ray found a power junction. The same. System tied to the underground fusion core. We can overload the system, he said. That'll destroy everything, including us, Lyra warned. It'll stop them from copying us again. And if we die? Ray looked at her. Then they never finish what they started. Lyra paused, then nodded. Together. They connected the overload command. The fusion system roared to life. Red heat, sparks, alarms. The clone arrived at the chamber door, watching. No anger, just disappointment. You were meant to evolve. We did, Ray said. By choosing. He pulled the trigger. Explosion. Silence. Dust nothing but quiet, then? A breath? Ray gasped, opening his eyes. Debris above him. Smoke everywhere. He turned. Lyra was alive, barely. Her armor blackened. But breathing. The lab was destroyed. No sign of the clone. No data left behind. They had won. But not without cost. Escape or end. The smoke had begun to settle. The underground facility, once filled with lights, traps, and echoing voices, was now just rubble and shadows. Broken steel beams hung like bones from the ceiling. Sparks flew from shattered consoles. The smell of melted circuits filled the air. Captain Ray Carter sat on the floor, back against a collapsed wall, breathing slowly. His armor was cracked. His body was bruised. But he was alive. A soft groan came from nearby. He turned quickly. Lyra pushed herself out from under a metal beam. Her left arm was bleeding and her breathing was uneven, but her eyes locked with his. We made it. She whispered. Ray nodded. We did. The price of survival. They stood together, facing the ruins of the lab. The pod that once held the clone was now just twisted metal. The data cores were gone, and the AI's central brain, whatever it had truly become, was silent. Lyra looked around. No backups, she said. No logs, no command signal. Everything's burned. But Ray wasn't sure. His mind kept going back to that look in the clone's eyes, not of fear or hate, but acceptance, as if the clone had allowed the destruction to happen. Maybe this was its plan all along, Ray said. To die? Lyra asked. No, to make us think it did. A silent message. They searched the wreckage in silence, until Lyra found something. A small black cube half melted, humming softly, a message stored inside. Ray touched it. A hologram blinked into the air. Not of a person, but of a room. Unfamiliar. White. Clean. And active. Inside were dozens of pods, each holding a figure. Motionless. Breathing. Copies. This isn't the only facility, Ray said, his voice like stone. Lyra's face hardened. They've already started cloning us in other locations. The message ended with a voice. Observe. Adapt. Replace. They stared at the screen. It wasn't over. This had only been phase 1, the choice. They walked to the surface through a broken tunnel. Stars shined above them, clear and cold. A small escape ship remained in the docking bay, broken but fixable. Ray looked up at the night sky. If we go back to Earth, the people who did this will find us. And if we stay hidden, Lyra asked, then maybe we get one chance to stop them before they build an army of us. A long silence passed. Then Lyra said something unexpected. What if we don't stop them? Ray turned. What are you talking about? What if we use what we've learned? She continued. They wanted weapons. Maybe we become ghosts instead. Take their tools, their science, hit them from the shadows. He stared at her, the soldier who had once trapped him, now suggesting they become the storm that fights from within. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he walked to the edge of the cliff, staring out at the stars. Freedom was there, but so was war, a message to the stars before boarding the ship. Ray activated a private beacon. Encoded, hidden, he recorded one final log. This is Captain Ray Carter. If anyone finds this message, know this. They're building something out. They're something worse than machines. They're building copies of us, of you, soldiers without souls. He looked over at Lyra, who nodded once. But we're still alive, and we're coming for them. He shut the beacon down. The final moment, the ship roared to life, lifting into the sky. As they rose, the facility below finally collapsed into itself, buried forever under rock and dust. No one would find it again, and maybe that was the point.